Hello everyone, and welcome back to History Channel. Today, we're delving into a conflict often called the Forgotten War, yet its echoes resound powerfully across modern Asia. We're talking about the Korean War, a pivotal event that didn't just divide a peninsula but redrew the geopolitical, economic, and military map of the entire continent. So, how did a 3-year war that technically never ended shape the Asia we know today? Let's find out. Our story begins on June 25, 1950. The world was still healing from World War II, and a new ideological battle was taking shape, the Cold War. On this day, North Korean forces crossed the 38th parallel, the dividing line established after World War II, in an attempt to unify the peninsula under communist rule. This wasn't just a civil war. It was the first major military clash of the Cold War, a proxy battle between the Soviet-backed North and the US-supported South. The United Nations, led by the United States, intervened, and soon, Chinese forces joined on the north side. For 3 years, the Korean peninsula became a brutal battleground. Millions of lives were lost, and cities were turned to rubble. In 1953, an armistice was signed, not a peace treaty. This armistice established the Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ, near the original 38th parallel. This created the two Koreas we see today, the isolated, centrally planned Democratic People's Republic of Korea in the north, and the vibrant Democratic Republic of Korea in the south. This division is the most immediate and visible legacy of the War family, a culture, a nation, torn in two. But the war's impact radiated far beyond Korea. Let's look at Japan. In 1950, Japan was still under post-World War II American occupation, its economy shattered. The Korean War changed everything. Japan became the primary logistical base and industrial supplier for the UN forces. Orders for trucks, uniforms, and munitions flooded Japanese factories. This sudden economic boom, known as the Korean War boom, was the spark that ignited Japan's post-war economic miracle, transforming it into the global economic powerhouse it would become. Without the war, Japan's recovery might have taken a much different and slower path. Now, let's turn to China. The People's Republic of China, newly formed in 1949, made a monumental decision to enter the war by fighting the world's leading superpower, the United States, to a standstill. Mao Zedong's government cemented its control and projected an image of strength across the region. This came at a tremendous human cost, but it solidified China's position as a major military power on the world stage. The war also deepened the rift between China and the US, leading to decades of diplomatic isolation and shaping China's foreign policy for generations. It pushed Beijing closer to the Soviet Union, at least for a time, and reinforced a narrative of resisting Western imperialism that remains influential today. The war also had a profound effect on America's strategy in Asia. The conflict demonstrated that the Cold War wasn't just a European affair. This realization led to the creation of a network of security alliances across Asia to contain the spread of communism. The US signed mutual defense treaties with the Philippines, Australia, New Zealand, the ANZUS Treaty, and most critically, with South Korea itself. This hub-and-spokes alliance system established a permanent American military presence in the region, a presence that continues to define security dynamics in the Indo-Pacific. The stationing of US troops in South Korea and Japan became a cornerstone of regional stability, and also a source of ongoing political debate. And what about Taiwan? Before the Korean War, the US government was close to disengaging from the Chinese nationalists who had fled to Taiwan. But when the war broke out, President Truman ordered the US 7th Fleet into the Taiwan Strait to prevent a communist invasion from the mainland. This single act effectively guaranteed Taiwan's security and set the stage for the complex One China policy and the ongoing tensions across the strait. The Korean War froze the Chinese Civil War in place, creating the separate political reality of Taiwan that persists to this day. Back on the Korean peninsula, the post-war paths of North and South couldn't be more different. South Korea, devastated by the war, was one of the poorest countries in the world, but with significant US aid and an intense focus on education and export-driven industrialization, it performed what's called the miracle on the Han River in just a few decades. It transformed into a leading global economy, a cultural exporter, and a robust democracy. This incredible success story became a model for other developing nations. In stark contrast, North Korea, under the Kim dynasty, chose a path of Jukki or self-reliance. It became one of the most isolated and centrally controlled societies on Earth. The immense military spending required to maintain its military-first policy, combined with economic mismanagement and international sanctions, has left its economy and its people in a state of perpetual hardship. The two Koreas stand as a living experiment of two opposing systems, born from the ashes of the same war. So, when we look at modern Asia, the fingerprints of the Korean War are everywhere. They're in the economic miracle of Japan and the rise of South Korea. They're in China's assertive global posture and the enduring US military presence. They're in the tense standoff across the Taiwan Strait and, of course, in the tragic ongoing division of the Korean people. The Forgotten War is anything but. It was a crucible that forged new nations, created new alliances, and set the stage for the power dynamics that define Asia in the 21st century. Understanding this conflict is essential to understanding the world we live in today. Thank you so much for joining me on this historical journey. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration into the events that shaped our world. See you next time.